Well, welcome to Beyond Belief with our very special guest, Billy Carson, a researcher, a blogger, social media manager, and one of the best, and also founder of the ForbiddenKnowledge.com. Billy, welcome to Beyond Belief.
Hey, glad to be back.
What's new with you?
Oh, a lot of exciting things. The book that I wrote, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, became a bestseller on Amazon.
Good for you.
Thank you. It's a really
That's
great
exciting.
accomplishment.
That
Yeah.
is exciting.
Very excited about that. I'm working on a movie right now called Chronicles of the Annunaki, which is going to be a box office level movie produced by Damon Dash at Dame Dash Studios.
How did you get involved in all of this? I mean, because the subject matter that you handle isn't something that the everyday person wakes up and goes, hey, I want to go study that.
You know, it really started back from 1977. We lived next to an airport in Miami, Florida called the Opa-locka Airport, very small private airport, and I saw planes going over my backyard all the time, but this one particular time I saw an object that went over that didn't look like an airplane. Even as a kid, I didn't know what a UFO or flying saucer was, but I knew what a fuselage and wings looked like.
That you knew.
Yeah, that I knew, and I didn't see that on this object. So I went to Rainbow Park Elementary the next day, went to the library, because this is the 70s, so he had to get the old encyclopedias. So I got all the Encyclopedia Britannicas on aerospace, and I literally started researching aerospace and technology from back then. Much later, what happened was I started saying, okay, I've been researching all this technology. It's got to, maybe link to something from a long time ago.
Sure.
So I started digging into the ancient past and realizing that they were talking about technology in ancient texts, and started putting two and two together and saying, wow, there could be evidence of a very highly technologically advanced ancient civilization on this planet.
And digging into the ancient past you did, tell me a little bit about Thoth and the Emerald Tablets.
Thoth is an ancient Atlantean priest king. This is what he was called back then. He was also the son of Enki, which was an Annunaki. So the Anunnaki and the Atlanteans are really one and the same, I should say.
Anunnaki came from another planet called Nibiru.
Right, from another planet named Nibiru, and also other star systems as well, not just Nibiru. They came from multiple star systems, which is one of the things that I talk about in the book. But Thoth himself was basically the bringer of knowledge and wisdom to mankind. And he was ordered by his dad to go around the planet and kickstart civilization all over the planet. And after the Great Flood, he was told to bring back civilization to a high level, and where he was then told to take his crew with him and go out and start off in the land of Kim, which is ancient Egypt before it was called Egypt.
Doesn't Thoth have that bird-like look to him?
Yes. He looks like a bird, like he's got that bird beak, but he's really not a bird man. The bird is the symbol of the ibis beak, and the reason why they chose that symbolization for Thoth is because an ibis bird has to dig its beak deep into the mud to bring up sustenance. So the symbology is basically saying he's going into darkness to bring darkness to light.
Well, let's take a look at Thoth.
The trail of the occult begins in Egypt 5,000 years ago. Just before the rise of Egypt's great pharaohs, hieroglyphics or pictographs were invented. Egyptians used them to document their history and religion, and to practice complex systems of astronomy, astrology, and geometry. They believed their powerful knowledge came from the god Thoth.
Thoth, or Tahuti, was the Egyptian god of magic. And more than just the god of magic, he was the god of writing, of astronomy, of mathematics and science. He invented language, he invented writing.
Only priests with special training were allowed access to Thoth's sacred knowledge. Imhotep, builder of the first pyramid, was one of the chosen.
Thoth was considered to be the one who gave us writing and numbers and the arts of self-cultivation through works of consciousness. Some people thought he was a person who was then deified through his accomplishments. Other people feel that this has been a mythical entity from the beginning.
Legends held that a book of magic written by Thoth contained the secrets of the gods.
The Book of Thoth was actually considered to be in the astral plane. Not a physical thing, but something that you had to actually travel in consciousness to arrive at. And so this is probably one of those very old incidences of channeling where an individual would get into a special state of mind, contact the Thoth energy wherever it was to be found, and then be tutored by this multilingual, multi-code kind of consciousness.
What kind of a creature was this?
Well, he was really a very special being. He wasn't a Homo sapien sapien like us because, according to the ancient tablets, we came along much, much later in the geological
Well, we may have
timescale.
been seeded by them, right?
Yes. Well, I really think that they are like our cousins, and we look like them. I think that Homo sapiens sapien are the new kids on the block, and that these ancient beings, these beings of old, were here many, many millions of years ago and had developed technologies to extend their lifespans for many tens of thousands of years.
What was Thoth's role? What was its purpose?
Well, this is where we get the word thought from. So he was the bringer of knowledge and wisdom to mankind. All the different languages on the planet, he was ordered to teach all the different languages, to teach the civilizations how to develop different levels of technology. And also he was the master architect of the pyramid structures all over this entire planet. That was one of the key roles. As a matter of fact, in the Emerald Tablets, he says himself, he built the Great Piece, and I built the Great Pyramid. So he developed the Great Pyramid and that technology. And then after they rose the land of Chem back to a higher level of civilization, he told the people that came along with him, his crew members, to spread out all over the planet and duplicate exactly what they did there.
Billy, did he have a lifespan? I mean, how long did he live?
These beings are capable of living for tens of thousands of years. He talks about going into this place called the Halls of Amenti, which is underneath the Great Pyramid. That's where he put it. And that recently those rooms have been discovered down there, by the way. But anyway, he goes into these regeneration chambers where he takes an avatar body, then he puts into a regeneration chamber and leaves it in there for 100 years. While he walks amongst men in another avatar body. This is why he had so many different names and so many different looks over many eons, because he was utilizing these avatar bodies.
But it's the same him.
It's the same him. He transfers his consciousness from his avatar body to the next one that's regenerated, and he puts that depleted avatar body, either he gets rid of it or puts it back into a rejuvenation chamber and regenerates that one again. So they have done this for tens of thousands of years.
Isn't that what we're trying to do now with cryogenics? And by downloading memory, so you can put it into a different body and you live forever?
Well, we've gone even a step further than cryogenics now. They've just developed the first DNA hard drive, Microsoft has. So you can take 1 gram of DNA can store 433 petabytes of data. So they discovered that it can store digital bits of zeros and ones and information. So they've created a digital DNA hard drive, which was the biggest limitation on transferring consciousness. So now we have the capability of transferring consciousness into a storage capacity. And then, with now the creation of the ability to create avatars from stem cells, we can literally take a skin cell from your body, put it under the right chemical conditions in a laboratory, create a clone of you up to whatever age specified, and then transfer your consciousness from your body, your mind, into that new avatar.
Amazing. Now, the Emerald Tablets. Tell me the Emerald Tablets' role and what they are.
Well, the Emerald Tablets were a writing that were authored directly by Thoth himself. In other words, he didn't have a scribe write these. He wrote them himself, which is kind of unique for back in those times. They would usually, a god or a king, they would have a scribe do all the writing. These he authored. And he said that he was leaving these behind to guide mankind back into the golden age, basically, back into the light.
Almost like the Ten Commandments?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at the Emerald Tablets, you start to realize you're reading something that predates a biblical text by tens of thousands of years, and the Bible is saying almost the exact same thing when you look at some of the wording in the New Testament. So I kind of show side by side where Jesus is quoted as speaking in the New Testament versus what Thoth is saying in the Emerald Tablets, and you're going, oh my God, which came first, the chicken or the egg? You're seeing that the words are matching up. But when you go and research further into the words of Jesus, which is really his name is Yeshua, you discover something in the Gospel of the Holy 12 where he left and went to Egypt to live. And I've actually been to the place he lived in Egypt, in Coptic Cairo. And then from there he went to Tibet and also to India, where he learned mystic arts and Reiki healing with his hands, teaching reincarnation the whole way back. So he was a student of the mystery schools.
Could Moses have been given the Emerald Tablets as opposed to the so-called Ten Commandments?
Moses got his information from something called the 42 Laws of Ma'at, which is something that's out of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the Book of Going Forth by Day. And there's actually 42 commandments, out of which they took 10 and they made it into the modern-day Bible.
Where are the Emerald Tablets today, Billy?
I really believe that the Emerald Tablets, the original version, are underneath the Vatican archives in that 5 acre, hidden away, down way beneath that 5 acre archive.